Everyone expected a handshake and a gift card. Instead, Prince walked onto that stage alone, sat at the piano, and played something he'd never performed publicly in 20 years. When the bodyguard realized what song it was, he collapsed into his chair and covered his face. Paisley Park Studios, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Friday evening, November 2014. 7 p.m. Private farewell gathering for Marcus William Hayes. Marcus had been Prince's head of personal security since 1994, 20 years. In those 20 years, Marcus stood between Prince and 6 assassination threats, traveled to 47 countries, worked 312 concert tours, slept an average of 4 hours a night, always on call. He missed his daughter's first steps, his son's first day of school, his mother's final weeks in the hospital. He watched 3 colleagues' marriages collapse under the same job pressure, somehow kept his own intact. Barely. He was retiring because both knees needed replacement, surgery, because of a stress-induced heart condition discovered the previous year, and most importantly, because his wife Diane had finally said, "Marcus, 20 years, the kids are grown, it's our time now, or there is no hour." 200 people filled the Paisley Park event hall, purple accents throughout, round tables, a stage with a microphone, and in the corner, almost as an afterthought, a lone Yamaha grand piano, lid closed. Dinner was served at 7:15. Toasts began at 7:45. Larry Graham, the legendary bassist and one of Prince's closest friends, went first. "Marcus, in 20 years I never once worried about Prince when you were in the room. That's the greatest compliment I can give a man in your position." Sheila. "Marcus caught me before I fell off a stage in Tokyo in 2004. I never told anyone that until tonight. Thank you." Maya, Prince's executive assistant. "Marcus once drove 6 hours in a snowstorm to make sure I got home safely after a late session. He didn't tell Prince. He didn't tell anyone. He just did it." Then Marcus's daughter, Keisha, took the microphone. 21 years old, nervous, hands shaking. "My dad missed a lot, I'm not going to lie. Basketball games, school plays, my college graduation. He was on tour in Japan." The room went quiet. "But he also taught me something by being gone. He taught me that when you love something, really love it, you give it everything." He gave his everything to protecting Prince. And Prince's music raised me. Every tour my dad went on, he'd bring back a story. Prince played for 3 hours tonight and then came back and played 3 more. Prince sent someone to find the best guitar teacher in Osaka at midnight. She paused. Her voice broke. "Dad, I'm a music teacher now. I teach kids how to play piano. I wouldn't be doing that without your stories. So, in a way, Prince raised me too. And so did you." Marcus sat at the front table with Diane. His eyes were red, Diane's hand in his. The room was silent. 8:30 p.m. Marcus took the microphone. He was a big man, 6'4", broad-shouldered, the kind of presence that fills a doorway. But tonight he looked tender. "I'm not good with words. Prince knows that. 20 years, I think I said maybe 500 sentences to him total." Light laughter. "But I want to say one thing. This job, it wasn't a job. It was a calling. Every day I showed up knowing that inside that studio, or on that stage, or in that tour bus, something was being created that the world needed. My job was just to make sure nothing got in the way of that." He looked directly at Prince, seated at a corner table, characteristically quiet, watching. "Prince, you never once treated me like staff, not once in 20 years. You asked about my kids by name, every single time. You never forgot a single thing I told you about my family." His voice cracked. "When my mother died in 2009, you flew me home on your private plane and told me to take as long as I needed. You didn't call me for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And when I came back, the first thing you said was, "How are you doing, Marcus? Not your knees, not the job. You." Marcus paused, composed himself. "I don't know how to thank a man for 20 years of that." He sat down. The applause was long, genuine. Everyone looked at Prince's table. He was supposed to speak now. That was the program. Remarks from Prince. Prince stood, walked toward the microphone. The room settled. He reached the stage, took the microphone from the stand, looked at it for a moment, then set it back down. Without a word, he walked to the corner of the room, to the Yamaha grand piano. He pulled the lid open. The room exchanged glances. This wasn't in the program. Maya looked at the event coordinator, who shrugged. "I don't know." Prince sat at the piano, didn't adjust anything, didn't test the keys, just sat. Still, for 5 full seconds. Then he looked directly at Marcus across the room. "Marcus, I wrote you something." Complete silence. "I wrote it in 2002, after your mother passed. I never played it for you. I wasn't sure it was right. Tonight, it's right." He placed his hands on the keys. What came out of that piano had no title. It would later be called Haze in the Paisley Park archives, discovered after Prince's death in 2016. But no one in that room knew it had a name. They only knew what it felt like. It began with a simple, low melody, almost mournful, like a man walking home alone at night. Then it built, the left hand adding a foundation steady and reliable, like a heartbeat, like a man who shows up every day without being asked. Then the right hand, a melody that climbed, tentative at first, then soaring, like something or someone being protected, finally being set free. At 30 seconds, Marcus's daughter Keisha covered her mouth with both hands. At 1 minute 15, Sheila E. reached for Larry Graham's arm. At 2 minutes 40, several crew members who had worked with Prince for decades, people who had heard everything he had ever written, looked at each other with expressions that said, "We have never heard this." At 3 minutes 50, Diane started crying silently, squeezing Marcus's hand so hard his knuckles went white. At 5 minutes 20, Marcus understood. Not with his brain, with his body, a full-body recognition. This was his life. The missing birthdays, the snowstorms, the 4 a.m. calls, the mother's funeral, the 6 weeks off, the 20 years. Prince had heard every story Marcus ever told him, in elevators, on tour buses, over late-night meals between soundcheck and showtime, and somewhere, somehow, turned all of it into this. Marcus put his face in his hands. His shoulders started shaking. Diane wrapped both arms around him. 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Prince held the final note, let it fade completely into silence. He didn't stand immediately, just sat, head slightly bowed. 12 seconds of silence. Then the room came apart. 200 people standing. Not polite applause, something raw. Several people not applauding at all, just standing with tears streaming, unable to move. Marcus looked up from his hands. His face was completely undone. This 6'4" former military man. 20 years of standing between Prince and everything the world could throw, completely, utterly, openly weeping. He looked at Prince across the room. Prince looked back, nodded once. That's it. That's all I had to say. The room slowly came back to itself. People sat, wiped eyes, reached for water glasses. Prince walked from the piano to Marcus's table, stood in front of him. Marcus stood, instinctively. 20 years of standing when Prince enters a room. "Sit down, Marcus. You don't work for me anymore." Marcus sat, almost smiled. Prince pulled out a chair, sat across from him. Just the two of them, in a room of 200 people, in a private bubble. "I have 3 things for you." He reached into his jacket. First thing, a small USB drive. Plain, no label. That's the recording, tonight. What I just played. It's the only copy. It's yours. Do whatever you want with it. Play it for your grandkids. Put it in a drawer, throw it away. It doesn't matter. It was always yours. Marcus took it with both hands. Second thing, an envelope, sealed. Don't open that here. Open it when you get home. Marcus put it in his jacket pocket. He would open it later that night, sitting at his kitchen table with Diane beside him. Inside, a handwritten letter, 4 pages, and a check for $500,000. The letter began, "Marcus, you gave me 20 years. I can't give you 20 years back, but I can give you and Diane the next 20. This is for whatever that looks like. P." Third thing. Prince looked at Keisha, 2 seats away, still wiping her eyes. "Keisha," she looked up, "your dad says you teach piano to kids." "Yes." "Where?" "North Minneapolis. Community Center. 14 students. The program's underfunded. We might lose our space next year." Prince nodded slowly. "You won't." What?" "Paisley Park is going to fund your program, for as long as it needs to exist. New instruments, new space if you need it. Whatever the kids need." Keisha stared. "Why?" "Because your dad spent 20 years making sure I could make music. The least I can do is make sure his daughter can teach it." He stood. "Also because you said my music raised you. That means we're family." Prince turned to leave. Then Marcus spoke. "Prince." He stopped. "In 20 years I never asked you for anything. Not once." "I know. I'm asking for one thing now." "Name it." Marcus glanced at Diane, then back. "My wife has never heard you play live. In 20 years she came to one concert, 1998. But she was in the back. She couldn't see. She just heard it." Prince looked at Diane. She was shaking her head at Marcus. "Don't. It's too much." Prince pulled out his phone, typed something, handed it to Diane. "That's Maya's number. Call her next week. Front row. Whenever you want. For the rest of your life there will always be 2 front-row seats at every show with your name on them." Diane looked at the phone, then at Prince. "Mr. Nelson." "Prince." "Prince, thank you. For 20 years of taking care of my husband the way you did." A pause. "Thank you." His voice quiet. "For letting me borrow him." Prince left at 9:47 p.m. No announcement, no goodbye speech. He simply stood, nodded to the room, and walked out. The way he always left. 3 months later, February 2015. Marcus's knee surgeries went well. Recovery slower than expected. 6 weeks in bed. Diane brought him breakfast every morning. They watched old movies, took slow walks down the driveway and back. For the first time in 2 decades, Marcus was nowhere else. No tour, no hotel room, no earpiece, just home. "I didn't know what to do with all the quiet at first," he would say later. 20 years of constant alert and suddenly nothing. It felt wrong, like I was forgetting something. Every morning during recovery, he listened to the USB recording. It was the only thing that didn't make the time feel wasted, he would later say. April 21st, 2016. Prince Rogers Nelson died at Paisley Park, 57 years old. Marcus was at home in Minneapolis when he got the call. He sat in his kitchen for a long time, didn't speak, didn't move. Diane found him an hour later at the kitchen table, the USB drive in his hand, the 4-page letter open in front of him. She sat next to him, took his hand. They stayed there until morning. In the morning, Marcus said one thing: "He made the world better. Every day I showed up, he made the world better. I just made sure he could keep doing it." Diane squeezed his hand. "So did you." 2017 A Tribute Concert at Paisley Park. 1,200 people. Marcus was invited to speak. He brought the USB drive. He asked the sound engineer to play it through the Paisley Park speakers. The same speakers Prince had recorded on for 30 years. Hayes played through Paisley Park for the first time publicly. 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Complete silence throughout. When it ended, Marcus took the microphone. His voice was steady, careful. Prince never gave speeches. He didn't believe in talking about things he could show you. So instead of telling you who Prince was, I just played you who Prince was. He held up the USB drive. He made this for me. For one person, that's who Prince was. He didn't write. For stadiums, he wrote for people, one person at a time. The recording was never released commercially. Marcus refused every offer. In 2023, a journalist asked him why. Because Prince made it for me, not for the world. He paused. The moment I sell it, it stops being mine and starts being content. Prince taught me the difference. He smiled. He taught me a lot of things. In 20 years, without many words. That same year, Keisha's music program at the North Minneapolis Community Center had grown from 14 students to 87. New instruments, new space, a waiting list. Every September, the program held a recital. Marcus attended every year. He sat in the front row, the same front row Prince had promised Diane. And every year, before the students played, Keisha said the same thing. This program exists because of two men, my father, who spent 20 years protecting something the world needed, and Prince, who spent 20 years making it. She looked at her father. One of them is here. One of them is in this music. The kids played. And in North Minneapolis, in a community center that would not have existed without a USB drive and a handwritten letter and a man who knew how to say everything without saying anything, Prince's music raised another generation, one student at a time, the way it was always meant to.